So in this video, following on from our previous video of looking at addition or adding of natural numbers, we're going to look at adding decimal numbers. So I've just given a little illustration there at the bottom of my slide, addition with decimals, where I show a number, a 4-digit number with a decimal in between it. So you've got 13.95. And that point in the middle is a decimal point. What it basically means is anything to the left of it is a whole number. So it's 13. We'll say, for example, in money, 13 euros. And anything to the right of it is in between. They're in between numbers. So it's less than a whole number. And in this instance, that relates to 0.95. So in other words, if it was money, it'd be 95 cents. 95 cents. So it would be less than €1. And that's why it comes after the decimal point. And we use decimals every day when we're dealing with things like money, measuring weight, length, etc. And what we're doing, as I mentioned in the first slide there, is we're using numbers, we're using decimals when we're dealing with numbers and amounts that are in between whole numbers. So between 0 and 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, for example. And again, I use a little illustration there just to show that every digit that comes before the decimal point is a whole number, and it relates to units, tens, hundreds, thousands, etc. and so on. And every digit that comes after the decimal point, for instance, the first digit that comes after the decimal point relates to tenths, T-E-N-T-H-S, tenths. And the next digit, the second digit after the decimal point, relates to hundredths, and so on and so on. And as the numbers, go further away from the decimal point on the right hand side, the value is getting smaller and smaller. But as the digits go further away from the decimal point on the left hand side, they start getting larger. The value of the amount gets larger. So the steps involved in adding decimals, similarly to just normal addition, it's all about setting out your numbers correctly, ordering them properly. And in this instance, what we want to do is make sure that our decimals are lined up together. So no matter how many digits are in each amount or each number that we want to add, the first step, the most important step, is that you write it out, making sure the decimal of each amount is lined up underneath each other. Step 2, you can, if you want, in the numbers where your decimal finishes with 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places or 3 decimal places, you can fill in the zeros after these numbers just to make sure you have the same amount of digits in each amount. And I'll do an example of that in a few moments. And then just using column addition, add up each column as you go along, making sure to finish off once you get your total by making sure the decimal point is in the correct place, lined up with all your other decimal points on top. So let's do an example of where we'll come across decimal places or decimal points. So 3 items that I might buy in a shop: milk at €2.29, so 2.29, €2.29, bread at €1.45, and washing powder at €12.74. So line them up, make sure your decimal places are lined up. So you have 2.29, 1.45 and 12.74 with your decimal points all on top of each other. And then working from the right hand side again always, 4 plus 5 is 9, 9 plus 9 is 18, put down your 8, carry your 1, 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12, so 12 plus 2 is 14, put down your 4 and carry your 1. You can put in a decimal point at that point now underneath there. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, write down your 6, and then 1, and you've no other 10s, just write down your 1 there. So your answer would be 16 euros. So again, everything before the decimal point is a whole number, 16 euros, 0.48 cents. So again, that 48 comes after the decimal point and shows that it's not a whole number, so it's 48 cents. So bearing in mind what we just looked at, I'm taking 4 random numbers here. I'm not identifying them as being money or weight or anything like that. We're just looking at decimal numbers for the moment, and we'll just see how we lay it out and then go ahead using our steps to work it out. Okay, so we have 10.25, okay, 10.25, comma 2.7, comma 338.005, comma and 8.07. So 4 numbers that I want to find the total of or add together. So I lay it out. So I'm going to put down my 10.25 first. Now my 2.7. Now again, what I mentioned in our steps, make sure when you're writing them down that the decimal points are under each other. Lay them out appropriately. So 2.7. So under that decimal point. Now my next, so that's those 2 numbers counted for. My next number, 338.005. So I need my decimal point to be there. So I'm going to go 338 decimal point 005. And then my last number, 8.07. Again, put the decimal point under each other, 8.07. So it may look a bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's not. You've got your decimal points under each other, which means all of your place values are in the correct place. The units are in the correct place, the tens in the correct place, the hundredths in the correct place. And then after the decimal point, as your numbers or your value starts to get smaller as you go to the right hand side, you've got your tenths in the correct place, your hundredths in the correct place, your thousands in the correct place, and of course you can go further along and so on and so on. So again, just to recap there, as our numbers increase going to the left hand side, our numbers are going larger, our place value gets larger. As it increases to the right hand side, our value gets less. Okay, so I'm going to put a line underneath them and my plus sign. And it did mention in the steps you can fill in your zeros there if you like after the digits, after the end of the numbers, just so that you are filling the space, and so you're not too worried about, am I getting the right numbers, am I including the right numbers, etc. Okay, so let's start adding. So over here, 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. Put down my 5. 7 plus 0 plus 0 plus 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Put down my 2, carry my 1. So we have 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Put down my 0 and carry my 1. Put in my decimal point underneath where the other decimal points are. Then go forward here. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 2 is 19. And 0 is still 19. So put down my 9 and carry my 1. And then I've just got 1 plus 3 is 4. Just one other one up here, plus another one. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then over here, we just have in the hundredths place, just 1 3. So write that 3 down there, okay? So adding those numbers together, our total is 359 decimal point 025. 359.025. So just to remember, when adding decimal numbers, decimals, again, the digits that come after the decimal, meaning they're in between numbers, they're not whole numbers. Anything before the decimal point are whole numbers. So what we do when we add, we just lay them up with our decimal points under each other and just add as normal, and you should be okay with that. All right, thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye.